In the heart of Texas, where the rolling plains embrace the endless sky, lies the small town of Oakwood Springs, a quiet community of just 5,000 residents. Here, everyone knows each other, doors remain unlocked at night, and the most excitement usually comes from the annual county fair. However, on a blistering summer evening in July 2024, this tranquil town would find itself at the center of a horrific tragedy, one that would reverberate far beyond its borders and capture the attention of the nation. At the epicenter of this storm was Sheriff Amanda Roberts, a dedicated law enforcer who had devoted her life to upholding justice and safeguarding her community. On this fateful night, she was about to confront a situation that would blur the lines between right and wrong, transforming her into both judge and executioner in a case that struck painfully close to home. As the sun set behind the horizon, little did she know the choices she was forced to make would leave an indelible mark on her life and the lives of those around her. This unsettling narrative challenges our perceptions of morality, love, and protective instincts. It raises critical questions about the lengths a parent will go to in the name of safeguarding their child, even when it means crossing an unforgivable line. How does one navigate the muddy waters of betrayal, especially when it comes to safeguarding the most vulnerable? As we unpack this tragic tale, we are forced to confront the uncomfortable truths about trust, betrayal, and the complex nature of familial love. You are watching True Crime Excavate, your portal for gripping explorations into the world of real crime. Here, we dissect chilling cases, delve into unsolved mysteries, and recount tales of scandal and deception. From notorious cold cases to captivating courtroom battles and profiles of infamous criminals. Subscribe and become part of a community dedicated to unraveling mysteries and seeking justice. Amanda Roberts wasn't born into law enforcement, she clawed her way into it. Growing up in the rougher parts of Houston, she had seen firsthand the impact of crime on communities. Her father, a construction worker, had been killed in a robbery gone wrong when Amanda was just 12. That tragedy became the catalyst for her lifelong mission to protect and serve. After graduating high school with honors, Amanda joined the police academy, driven by a fierce determination to make a difference. Her instructors noted her exceptional skills and unwavering dedication. She graduated top of her class and quickly rose through the ranks of the Houston Police Department. But city life wasn't where Amanda saw her future. She dreamed of a place where she could make a real impact, where she could know every face and name in the community she served. When the position of deputy sheriff opened up in Oakwood Springs, Amanda saw her chance and took it. The small town was initially skeptical of the city cop in their midst, but Amanda's genuine care for the community, her tireless work ethic, and her ability to connect with people soon won them over. Within 5 years, she had become a beloved figure in Oakwood Springs. When the old sheriff retired, there was no question about who would take his place. At 35, Amanda Roberts became the youngest sheriff in Oakwood Springs history and its first African-American woman to hold the position. The town celebrated her appointment, seeing it as a sign of progress and a bright future ahead. Outside of her professional achievements, Amanda was also a devoted mother to her young daughter, Lily. The evenings in their household were filled with laughter and warmth, as Amanda and her husband, Mark, often gathered at the dinner table to share stories about their day. The couple had built a life filled with love, vacations, and family traditions that revolved around family outings, school plays, and cozy movie nights. Amanda cherished these moments, believing that the foundation of her family was as important as her duty to serve and protect the community she loved. However, underlying the seemingly perfect family life were subtle signs that hinted at tension. While Amanda thrived in her role as sheriff, Mark often struggled with feelings of inadequacy. His own career aspirations had stalled, leading to moments of frustration that occasionally seeped into their interactions. Friends noticed the exchanges growing colder, the subtle rolling of eyes, the avoidance of certain topics during dinner conversations. Conversations that once flowed easily became stilted, as Amanda found herself drawn deeper into her work, leaving Mark to wrestle with his own feelings of isolation. This growing distance began to manifest in their marriage, leaving Amanda feeling torn. She wanted to support Mark, yet no matter how hard she tried, the emotional chasm seemed to widen. While Mark put on a brave face for their daughter, Amanda could sense that his support for her ambitions sometimes masked an unspoken resentment. These layers of complexity in their relationship hinted at deeper issues, making the eventual confrontation all the more tragic when the truth about Mark's actions unfolded. As the weeks unfolded leading up to that fateful day, Amanda sensed an unsettling shift in her household. The small, seemingly inconsequential arguments between her and Mark began to escalate. Amanda's long hours at the sheriff's office left little time for family, making Mark increasingly irritable and distant. Friends remarked on how Mark had become withdrawn, spending more nights out than usual and less time at home. In hushed conversations at their dinner table, Amanda noticed tension simmering, leaving an unspoken divide that hung heavily in the air. Moreover, Amanda began to notice more trivial signs: Mark frequently checking his phone, brief glances exchanged between him and their daughter that seemed awkwardly prolonged, and a reluctance to share details about his day. Though Amanda tried to brush aside her nagging suspicions, she couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was amiss. It was a feeling compounded by late-night texts and increasingly secretive behavior on Mark's part, leaving her feeling both frustrated and confused. The events of that day began like any other, with Amanda finishing her shift and returning home, exhausted yet excited to spend time with Lily. As she walked into the living room, her mind still occupied with the duties of the day, she was greeted by an unsettling scene that would alter her life forever. There in the dim light of their home, she caught the drapes swaying, obscuring the view of the backyard. Curiosity gripped her. Drawing closer, she peeked outside, and horror washed over her. Amanda witnessed her husband and her daughter in a compromising situation. Mark was holding Lily a bit too tightly, whispering words that were clearly inappropriate for a father to share with his young child. Time seemed to freeze as disbelief coursed through her veins. A visceral panic seized Amanda, overwhelming her senses as the full weight of what she was witnessing crashed down on her. In that heart-stopping moment, Amanda felt her world collapse. Disbelief turned into a surging tide of emotions: anger, despair, and an indescribable sense of betrayal. The man she had loved, the father she trusted implicitly, was now revealed as someone capable of such heinous behavior. Turmoil raged within her, spiraling between the instinct to protect her daughter and the overwhelming shock of what she had just witnessed. Her heart raced as adrenaline coursed through her body. Should she intervene immediately, or should she retreat and gather her thoughts? As fear clawed at her mind, she struggled to comprehend the enormity of this betrayal and the potential impact on their family. Every fiber of her being screamed for action, yet she felt paralyzed, trapped in a nightmare that left her breathless. The image of her husband's affectionate demeanor replaced by one of predatory darkness etched itself into her memory forever. The atmosphere inside the home shifted dramatically in the wake of Amanda's horrific discovery. The air was thick with tension and dread, the walls seemingly closing in as the reality of the situation sank in. Each heartbeat echoed in Amanda's ears as she battled between her instinct to protect her daughter and the painful betrayal of the man she had trusted with her life. The shadows cast by the dim light flickered menacingly, mirroring the chaos within her mind. As she stood there frozen for a moment, her resolve solidified. She had to confront Mark immediately. The urgency of the situation propelled her to act. Gripping her phone tighter, she dialed it, but she silenced herself, knowing that the call to the authorities could take time she didn't have. Each step she took toward the back door felt heavier than the last, the weight of the world lying on her shoulders. Mark, oblivious to the storm brewing just outside, continued to play the role of the dutiful father. Little did he know that his normalcy would soon shatter under the weight of Amanda's fury. As the seconds ticked by, Amanda's desperation turned to rage, fueled by the need to protect her daughter at all costs, her emotions a volatile mix of fear and anger. She steeled herself, doing nothing was no longer an option. Drawing a deep breath, Amanda burst through the back door with unwavering determination. Mark turned, his expression shifting from surprise to confusion as he noticed his wife's furious demeanor. "Amanda, what's going on?" he asked, masking his alarm with an attempt at casualness. But Amanda wouldn't be swayed by his facade any longer. "What's going on?" she echoed, her voice rising with disbelief. "What's going on is that I just caught you with our daughter." Her words erupted from her like lava, fiery and uncontainable. The raw intensity of her accusation struck Mark like a physical blow, an array of emotions crossing his face: shock, denial, then a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative. "You don't understand," Mark began, raising his hands defensively. "I was just what? Abusing your power as a father? Taking advantage of her innocence?" Amanda interrupted, her voice filled with desperation and a fierce protectiveness. "You've betrayed everything we stood for, everything I trusted you to be." The confrontation exploded, both of them entangled in a heated exchange that felt as if it would tear apart the very fabric of their lives. Every word Amanda spewed carried the weight of heartbreak and fury, each accusation a dagger plunging deeper into Mark's facade. Confusion quickly turned to anger, Mark's tone shifting from defensive to venomous. "You're not thinking clearly. This is your fault too." He spat back, attempting to redirect the blame, a desperate move that only ignited Amanda's wrath further. Overcome with emotion, Amanda felt a surge of protectiveness for her daughter, a primal instinct to shield her from the harm her husband had inflicted not only in that moment but throughout their marriage. With the weight of her heartache crashing down, she could no longer contain the anguish distilling within her. "I won't let you hurt her." "Not anymore," she screamed, her voice shaking with a mixture of terror and resolve as she reached for the gun she had kept for protection. Instinctively drawing it from its place, she felt the cold metal against her palm, a weapon that now symbolized her desperate bid for justice. In that critical moment, she fully understood that this was about more than just Mark's betrayal. It was about protecting Lily from a future filled with unthinkable darkness. Before Mark could fully grasp what was happening, she squeezed the trigger, not once, not twice, but 10 times. Each shot resonated in the air, cutting through the tense silence like thunder, a sickening burst that shattered their world forever. The culmination of Amanda's grief and betrayal erupted into an irreversible act, leaving echoes of gunfire mingling with the storm outside. As the last echo of the gun faded, Amanda stood there, immobilized by the gravity of her actions. The reality of what she had just done crashed in around her, the shattering of vows, the destruction of a family, and the unthinkable choice she made to protect her child. The once warm home now lay steeped in tragedy, all hopes of normalcy extinguished as fire raged through their lives and hearts. Could it be that Amanda was reacting too much? Do you think she needed enough evidences instead of jumping into conclusion to the extent of pulling the trigger? Tell us in the comments section as we focus on what happens next. The chaotic aftermath of Amanda's tragic decision came swiftly. Within minutes of the gunfire, the sound of sirens filled the air as neighbors, alarmed by the commotion, began to gather outside in shock. Some claimed they had heard the argument preceding the shots, others witnessing Amanda emerge from the doorway, visibly shaken and covered in remnants of her own emotional turmoil. Law enforcement arrived on the scene to find a tableau of horror. The Texas night was pierced by the flashing lights of police cars, illuminating the grim reality within the home. Officers burst through the door, ready to respond to a scene that would forever change the lives of everyone involved. Inside, they found the grisly aftermath. Mark lay motionless on the floor, and Amanda stood nearby, now a shell of the devoted wife everyone once knew, her expression a mixture of grief and disbelief. Detectives quickly cordoned off the area, starting an investigation that would reveal the shocking details behind this family tragedy. As they combed through the scene, key evidence began to emerge: the gun with Amanda's fingerprints, the pattern of the shots fired, and the placement of Mark's body. Witness statements from neighbors provided insight into the tension that had been bubbling beneath the surface for weeks prior, offering a glimpse into the dynamics of a troubled household. Forensic specialists worked meticulously to gather every detail. Bullet casings were collected, photographs of the scene meticulously taken, and Amanda's emotional state recorded. The initial findings raised questions for the investigating team about whether Amanda acted out of self-defense or if there were deeper psychological factors at play. The emotional toll of the investigation weighed heavily on the officers. Every detail revealed the tragedy of a family fractured beyond repair. The news of the sheriff's shocking actions sent ripples of disbelief throughout the community. Friends and family were ill-prepared to grapple with the reality that the woman they admired could commit such an act. When the police first shared the details, many were left reeling, unable to comprehend how the family's turmoil had reached such catastrophic heights. Some of her colleagues in law enforcement stood by Amanda, insisting that her actions were a desperate response to years of emotional turmoil. They supported her assertion of acting to protect her daughter from further harm. However, others within the community voiced discontent, deeming her actions as unforgivable and questioning how someone in a position of authority could resort to such violence. Discussions flooded local social media pages. A divided community now debated the legality versus the morality of Amanda's actions. Families were split. Some mourned for Mark while others rallied behind Amanda. The complexity of the situation opened a broader conversation about domestic abuse, mental health struggles, and the burdens carried by those tasked with protecting their loved ones. Amanda Roberts faced serious charges following the tragic shooting of her husband. Under Texas law, she was charged with first-degree murder, a conviction that could result in significant prison time if found guilty. The courtroom was filled with tension as Amanda stood trial, embodying both the accused and the shattered wife of the man she had once loved. Her demeanor was complex. At times, she appeared remorseful, her eyes filled with grief as she reflected on the life that had been lost, while other moments showed a level of defensiveness as her attorney argued that Amanda was driven by a mother's instinct to protect her child. Throughout the trial, Amanda and her defense team painted a narrative of desperation and betrayal, citing her husband's actions as the catalyst for her own. Expert witnesses discussed the psychological impact of domestic trauma and the heavy burdens of stress and emotional turmoil. As evidence was presented, the courtroom became a battleground of words, with Amanda's emotional state positioned against the haunting realities of what transpired. The community's reaction to the trial was deeply polarized. On one side, many sympathized with Amanda, believing she had acted out of a protective instinct that any mother would understand. Others, however, viewed her actions as unforgivable, arguing that there was no justification for taking a life, no matter the circumstances. The media frenzy surrounding the trial fueled public debate, with headlines polarized between support for Amanda and condemnation of her actions. As the trial came to a close, the jury deliberated with heavy hearts over the conflicting narratives presented to them. In the end, Amanda was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter rather than murder, reflecting the jurors' understanding of the intense emotional circumstances surrounding her actions. The judge delivered the verdict with a solemn tone. Amanda was sentenced to serve several years in a rehabilitation facility, emphasizing the need for mental health support over punitive measures, given the complexities of her case. The verdict elicited mixed reactions within the community. While some hoped for Amanda's path to healing, others were outraged that she would not face a longer prison sentence. Community members rallied both for and against Amanda, setting up support networks for those embroiled in similar family struggles and, conversely, advocating for stricter consequences for acts of violence. Amid continuous debates and discussions, the community began to heal on its own terms, determined to emerge stronger in the wake of tragedy. Amanda's story was now woven into the fabric of discussions about love, betrayal, and the far-reaching consequences of desperate actions, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who followed the case. As we wrap up this harrowing tale, we've explored the tragic circumstances that led Sheriff Amanda Roberts to shoot her husband in a moment of overwhelming despair. This case reveals complex themes of betrayal and the instinctual drive to protect one's children at all costs. Amanda's journey, from a devoted wife and respected law enforcement officer to a woman confronting the brutal reality of her husband's actions, highlights the fragile line between love and desperation. The emotional weight of her choices and the profound consequences ripple through her life, her family, and the community that once revered her. We want to hear from you. What would you have done in Amanda's position? Faced with such betrayal and an immediate threat, how do you feel about the decision she made? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Your perspectives can help foster meaningful discussions about the complexities of love, loyalty, and protection in the face of unimaginable circumstances. Join us next time as we delve into another captivating true crime story that tests the limits of morality and explores the darker sides of human relationships. Brace yourselves for a story that will not only intrigue but also challenge your perceptions. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss this next gripping episode when we uncover the secrets behind another shocking crime. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your support in our quest to explore the shadowy corners of humanity's most perplexing tales. We'll see you in the next video.